Nobody talks about how draining it is fighting for your child every day. So, for me, when my son was in school, even though I was teaching at a different school, I would still get the calls. What it seems that I would think that they would understand is that I work too, so like just stopping what I'm doing, leaving my class to go pick up my son was just the hardest and difficult thing that I had to do. And when I would speak with teachers as well as principals after a suspension, now for for example, a suspension would happen because I guess in hindsight, my son aggressively defended himself. Um, Another child had hit or poked at my son, and my son's response was, as they would say, overly aggressive. So, to be honest with myself and me knowing my son and how he responds to someone physically hitting him, and just, I guess, the aggression part of it comes from past trauma, and where if he gets hit and or if something is just snatched from him, he'll aggressively hit them and keep hitting them until someone breaks it up. So in that instance, my child was the aggressor, so he got suspended. The child that hit, I couldn't blame him either because this child had autism, and this was one of his that the other child's behavior habits. Sometimes he may hit or take or whatever. And the overall issue with it is that um, unlike years before and how they do things today, is they don't have like special ed class or special needs class. So everyone is inside a all gen ed class. So they put children with um, uh, disabilities, um, different learning disabilities. They just put them all in one classroom. And when you put all the children in one classroom, regardless of disability or not, these are things that'll happen. So when I came to the meeting after the 3 day suspension, the main thing that I asked that they always avoid is what led up to it, what happened. For me, I need steps because I've always been trained to do things by steps. So I just don't know why they're not doing the same thing. So even in the report focused on my son's response to the situation opposed to how the situation started, how did it progress from there, um, what was going on in the classroom before the other child had even came into my son's space to hit him or anything like that. Like all these questions I'm asking is something that they're not used to hearing. I would say from a parent, like step by step, walk me through what happened in the classroom to where it got to this point. Because I asked those questions for several reasons. One, just based off my experience. Two, to help understand what my son's triggers are and how I can best help him at home with certain triggers, and um, just helping him to understand that you're in a classroom where there's children that have certain, disabilities and things like that, and how to help my son respond to those things. Because at this point, he's just a first grade kid responding to another first grade kid, you know, and I understand that kids, even at that age, don't have all of their um, ways on how to handle a situation, especially when you're dealing with someone that has a diagnosed disability in an all ed class. So, um, while in the meeting, for his return after the 3 day suspension. No one could give me that. The teacher could not give me that. The principal could not give me that. They kept reverting back to his response to what happened. And they were aggressive about responding to my son's response, and how aggressively he responded to someone hitting him. And they focused on, this child has a disability and he shouldn't. Well, me nor my son or other kids know the details of a disability. And they want me to recognize that and say that, oh, your son was so in the wrong and he shouldn't have, X, Y, and Z. Still without giving anything that led up to it. What was, going on in the classroom? So I basically, in hindsight, trained my son on how to give me detailed information. So I always ask my son the detailed information. Like, okay, what were you doing? Or, where were you at? What were you supposed to be doing in that day? Where were you at in the classroom? I ask him all these questions because I know they're not going to give it to me. They're not going to give it to me. So I take all of that. I ask my son to be honest. He's even honest about if he hit first or something upset him and he hit first. So, with that being said, that's how a lot of the situations, when it comes to him being suspended, happened. Reasons for call homes. And I'm going to give you a really good tip at the end of this video on how to handle a lot of these situations. Now, before I give you that big, very important tip, these are some of the reasons for calling home. Now, here's the thing. I'm very honest about my son and what I know is going on with him, and understanding, his past, even though at this point he's in first grade when a lot of this is happening, and his behavior. I know that my son is hyperactive. I know he can't sit still long. I know he needs to move around. I know that he learns in in little chunks. I know the best time to give him his learning and the time that he's going to pay attention. I know the amount that he can handle and when he needs a break. And all of that is supposed to come when you are training to be a teacher, but I get it in some stance. And that'll be for another video. But if my son's having a bad day, so he doesn't want to sit down, he's walking around the class, he finished his work, but he don't want to just sit there. He just want to walk around and do something. They'll call while I'm working and say, hey, you need to pick Travis up. He's not listening. He's not sitting down. He's walking around and, he's doing this. He's disturbing the class. So I would have to go pick him up. A couple of times I did pick him up, and then I got a threat that if I don't come pick him up, they're going to call CPS or whatever for neglect of a child not picking him up or something like that. So I just went on and picked him up. It was always an issue if I have to leave my kindergarten classroom to go pick my son up from another school. If you're asking the question of why didn't your son just go to the school you were at? Well, one, he was in first grade. And two, I'm going to tell you this is just general about kids. Kids are very smart. They know what environment they're in. They know what environment to manipulate, whatever. My son already knew that I wasn't going to respond to him inside a school building in front of people the way I was responding to him at home about behavior. So at home, I don't tolerate misbehavior or this, that, and the other. I know and understand like this, that, and the third. But so far as I'm about to have a whole, especially when he's out of that tantrum age, and he decides, oh, I'm about to have a full-blown tantrum. He won't do that at home because I'll stop him right there and tell him, no, we're not doing that. Or, just redirecting, this, that, and the other. And I know that firmness works with him. Not popping them, not spanking them, but firmly saying, no, we're not doing that. Okay, you're going to have a seat and you're going to listen and you're going to, X, Y, and Z. I didn't need that as a kid. I was the A1 kid. I didn't need all of that. But with him, I did. But the thing is, for every little thing that they did not feel like dealing with, they would call me and say, pick him up. Or if he do any little thing, oh, he threw a pencil across the room, it could have hurt somebody, he's suspended for a day. Or he's suspended for 2 days. Any light little thing. And then they would write all these things down. So right now they have a list. Like to this day, there's over 300 write-ups, close to 16 suspensions. And this is just from preschool to the beginning of second grade. To the beginning of second grade. Because there was times where, like in the middle of the school year, all these suspensions and all this other stuff and inconveniencing me, I just took them out of school, put them online. Then we'll try it again. Then I have to take them out of school, put them back on, have to do the back and forth. But we're not doing that no more. We're strictly homeschool online. But this is what you can do. And this is what I did. And I'm telling you, the people at the school did not like me. So they would write up a report of whatever happened, and basically it's their side of the story. I always took note and sometimes recorded with my son right when I pick him up. Especially if I see that he's upset. I ask him what happened, who did it, what did you do, who did you tell, who did you talk to, who was the incident with, X, Y, and Z. I jot all, I take inventory of that. So what I started doing is I created an Excel spreadsheet. And on the Excel spreadsheet, and it's crazy that I had to do this, but I had to do this to, protect my son, especially after I got a glimpse. I had asked one teacher for what they were writing in the system, their log or whatever. And she had only gave me a few sheets. She didn't even give me the whole thing. And I seen what they were writing about. And so I was matching those dates up with what I would put, because in my Excel sheet, I had the day, the date, the time of the situation, where it took place in the school, who was all involved, and taking into account my side of the story and what I observed. And then when I would take those notes, because I ended up having to go over the principal's head and go to the board of education, because it was starting to get physical where adults were literally putting their hands on my son. It had to get like that. And I kept log. And I wrote and I emailed. And you need to do these things. You need to keep track of if something happens at the school. You cannot write it off and be like, oh, you had a bad day or whatever. Especially if this is something that you're experiencing on a regular basis. You need to take note and write it down and talk to your child. Get your child used to, I don't want to say interrogation, but it is, in some ways it's like that, but it's kind of like recounting their day. How was your day? And what happened? To hear from your child. Hear from your child and ask your child to be honest. Did you hit first? What upset you? Find out what the trigger was, because that's kind of like the goal. Jot everything down. And then when you're sending emails or you're talking to somebody from the Board of Education, you have all your notes and you're saying specific dates and times that certain incidents happen. And when they start to match that up with what they have in the system, where, I'm going to go back to that example where they say, well, they only wrote my son's response to the situation. Well, Travis, he went up to this kid and he just started hitting him. This child has a disability. And in my notes, I put everything that my son accounted. He said he was at his desk and he was talking to a little girl and they was playing with some toy on the table. The little boy came over. He wanted the toy. My son did not give it to him. So he hit my son. Then my son responded and hit him back. And because I'm writing everything down in the order he told me. So I put that first. But what happened before that, which is what I put next, because that's what my son told me. I said, well, when I asked him the question, well, what were you guys supposed to be doing? Were you supposed to be at the table playing with a toy? And where was the other child at? He said, well, he was across the room. He was supposed to be doing his assignment. We finished ours, so we were allowed to sit and play at the table with a toy. And I was just proud that he wasn't walking around the class and not disturbing anybody. So that was what was happening. The little boy was actually supposed to be doing his classwork. But he seen these two kids playing. He came, he wanted the toy. He was told no and hit my son. My son responded aggressively, yes. And then that's when the teacher, I guess, intervene, opposed to intervening before. Meaning when the child comes from all the way across the room to here, you're supposed to intervene before. Like, no, where you going? You need to go back and have a seat and finish your work. Do you need help? And I'm seeing all these things because this is how I catch it. I never, ever have these issues, even with children that has like some type of, disability or learning display. I never have incidents like this. And it would happen just like all the time, every day. I never have incidents like this. And when I take note, and then when I'm not getting the response or the interest of the principal, because the principal, of course, was siding with the teachers or whatever, then it's where I'm taking it to the next step. I wrote the board. I was like, do you need me to email you the account of what happened, X, Y, and Z? And when they're looking at that and comparing notes, no one wants to admit that something was wrong. So they try to figure some way out of it. But it was enough to put eyes on the situation. It was enough to put eyes on the situation. And so much had went on. But it's always good to take your child's account of what happened. And you make your notes too, because trust me, they're writing something about your child and you if you become the problem parent. This is what a problem parent is. A problem parent is a parent that advocates for their child. That is a problem parent. To teachers, that's a parent that advocates for their child. It shouldn't be, but that's how they see it. I never see it that way. When I'm dealing with parents, actually, I never really had these type of issues with a child or parents. Nothing like that. So it's always good to do this because it's just so important. It protects you, it protects your child, and it tells you guys side of the story. That's what it does. It tells you guys side of the story. So I don't want you to be discouraged in where you feel like, what do I do? I don't have no tools to fight the system. You can't. Even if you don't, and this is the thing, even when I didn't know someone's name, I would literally go to the school's website and where it says staff, you click on there where it says staff, and most of the time there's a picture. If you can't get their name at the school, what you should be doing, go to the site, because sometimes situations happen so fast, you'll get their face, but you don't know their name. You go to the site and you jot down their name, because when you're writing in your notes, you want to identify the teacher, the staff member by name. That's important. Identify them by name. Don't just say the security guard. No, what's that security guard's name? If it's Chris Ingalls, you put Chris Ingalls / security guard. If it's Ellen Rose teacher, you put Ellen Rose first grade teacher. when you're writing your notes and you're jotting everything down, even when it comes to you having to write the head of the board of education and you're identifying them by name, you identify every single person that you're talking about by name. Do not hide anything, because trust me, they're not going to hide you or your child name from them. They're not. So I'm going to leave you with this. You have power. You have power over the situation. You have power over your child, and it's your duty to protect and advocate for your child, because they're too young, they're too small to advocate for themselves. And if they already know that your child is the behavioral problem child, everyone's going to try to treat them like that and hope that you don't know what to do. So know what to do. Jot it down, even if it's in a notebook. Make sure you get the date and the name and the time of the day if possible. If it was at lunchtime, in the morning time, in the afternoon, at gym, specific locations, whatever it is, you need to get that down, because that backs you and it protects your son, your child. And it's gonna be fine, but you have to do these things in steps. And you might be like, oh, I don't want to cause no ruckus. I don't want to cause no uproar with the school, or they gonna give me a hard time. They're gonna end up not liking you. No, their job is to do their job. That's it. To do their job. They don't have to like you. They can hate you. But long as they treat your child with respect and kindness when they're at the school in their presence, that's what should be important to you, not if they like you or not. That's not their job to like you, and it's not your job to like them. You can be cordial, but they have to treat your child right, and you have to make them know that what they're doing is seen, it's wrong, and I'm calling it out. You need to do better. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to apologize for this, but sometimes I still feel aggressive and impassioned about this, because it wasn't too long ago. My son's in 3rd grade now, so it wasn't too long ago that the last incident happened. And it was only maybe a week or 2 ago that my child had relived or had some experienced trauma that came up about what happened at school, even though he hasn't been there all year. He's like, oh yeah, he remembered something else that happened to him that I still didn't even know about. He told me the name, where it happened, what he remembered about it. That's trauma that's still going on today. So these things can have long-lasting effects. I did put my son into therapy after some events that happened in kindergarten. And with therapy also gives you a good look at, what's going on with my son. Is it my son really causing all these issues? Is it something they're doing? Or, all of that. Because the therapists, they would go to the school too. And the things that they would tell me would just be so heartening, so heartbreaking. One therapist, she was so upset. She was so upset by what she had seen, what she had heard, when she went up to the school to observe my child. Because they would always say, when he's at the school, he might not do that at home, but he does it here. You say he don't do it at home, but he does it here. You have to see him in action here. I didn't see that. I've seen some stuff, but I didn't see that, what they explained. And then the person that would be on the outside of both of us is the therapist. She went up there and took account of everything that she's saying. So there you go. So it's not like just me saying X, Y, and Z. But just know that you are your child's voice. And if you're already dealt with this stuff in the school system, and you you decided that, okay, I'm going to homeschool my child, that's great. That's great. I know that part's hard too. Trust me, I know that part's hard too. But if you're at the school and you're still going through things like this, you're not alone. But I definitely want to give you some things to help in jotting down and getting your own account of what happened with your child on that particular day. You need to write it down too. Every day that they experience something with their child, they're writing it down. You need to be taking account too, and getting the facts, because the story a lot of times is one-sided. It's how your child responded to a situation, not the situation, not what happened before the situation. What they should have been doing is how your child responded. What happened when it escalated to 10? Okay, we write down from escalation to 10. The escalation is 10, not from 0 to 10. Okay, where he escalated, he's at 10. I'm jotting that down. That's what the teachers are doing. Not okay. Not okay. But I'll talk to you guys later. See you in the next one. Bye. Oh yeah, one more thing. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content just like this.